Close your eyes and imagine a world where death is not the end, but a new beginning. This is the essence of Dia de los Muertos, a celebration that has captivated hearts and minds. As you relax and prepare for sleep, let's embark on a journey to uncover the hidden history of this fascinating holiday. From ancient Aztec rituals honoring the Lady of the Dead to modern-day festivities that bring families together, Dia de los Muertos has evolved over time. Sugar skulls, marigolds, and laughter echo through cemeteries on this special night. Each element tells a unique story, weaving together tradition and remembrance. As we explore this rich tapestry of culture, you'll find yourself drawn into a world where life and death dance hand in hand, celebrating the bonds that endure beyond the veil. Before we begin, let's set the stage with some deep breathing and progressive muscle relaxation. Close your eyes, if you're comfortable, and take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a bit, then exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat this with me. Breathe in, hold, then exhale slowly through your mouth. Now, scrunch up your fists tightly and hold them, all while taking a deep breath in, holding and release, and relax your fists as you exhale. Let's do this again. Breathe in and clench, hold, then exhale and release. Now do the same with your arms. Breathe in and tense your arms. Hold and exhale and relax your arms. Let's repeat this. So breathe in and tense, hold, and exhale, and relax your arms. We'll do this one more time, but this time with our shoulders. So breathe in while tensing your shoulders, hold, then exhale and relax. Guess what? One more time. Breathe in and tense your shoulders, hold, exhale and relax. Alright, let's start the story. Maria settles into her bed, pulling the soft blanket up to her chin. The scent of marigolds drifts through her open window, a gentle reminder of the upcoming Dia de los Muertos celebrations. As she closes her eyes, Maria feels a strange sensation, as if the memories of countless generations are settling around her like a comforting embrace. Her breathing slows, and she drifts into that hazy space between wakefulness and sleep. The sounds of the modern world fade away, replaced by an eerie stillness. A whisper cuts through the silence, calling her name. The voice is unfamiliar, yet somehow comforting, urging her to follow. Maria's eyes flutter open, but instead of her dimly lit bedroom, she finds herself surrounded by a swirling mist. She takes a hesitant step forward, her bare feet sinking into soft, damp earth. The whisper comes again, stronger this time, pulling her deeper into the fog. As she walks, the mist begins to thin. Shadowy figures move in the distance, their outlines blurred and indistinct. Maria quickens her pace, curiosity overcoming her initial fear. The veil of mist parts, revealing glimpses of a world long past. Maria finds herself standing at the edge of an ancient Aztec marketplace. The air is filled with the heady scent of copal incense and the excited chatter of merchants and shoppers. Colorful stalls line the streets, offering everything from fresh produce to intricately woven textiles. In the distance, she sees the imposing silhouette of a great pyramid rising against the sky. As she takes in the sights and sounds around her, Maria begins to understand that she's witnessing the roots of Dia de los Muertos. The holiday's origins stretch back over 3,000 years to the indigenous cultures of pre-Hispanic Mexico. She watches as people bustle about, preparing for what she realizes must be a celebration honoring the dead. Near a temple, Maria notices a group of people setting up small altars. They carefully arrange offerings of food, flowers, and personal items. This tradition, she realizes, is the precursor to the elaborate ofrendas and families create today. Even in this ancient time, the connection between the living and the dead is palpable. As she wanders through the marketplace, Maria's attention is drawn to a group of craftsmen creating intricate clay figurines. With a start, she recognizes the familiar skull shapes that will one day evolve into the iconic sugar skulls of modern Dia de los Muertos celebrations. The ancient artisans decorate the figurines with bright pigments, their skilled hands bringing the clay to life. Maria's heart races with excitement as she realizes she's traveling through time, witnessing the evolution of this beloved holiday firsthand. She takes a deep breath, savoring the rich tapestry of sights, sounds, and smells around her. The ancient Aztec world feels both foreign and familiar, a testament to the enduring power of tradition. As the sun begins to set, casting a warm golden glow over the marketplace, Maria feels a gentle tug. The world around her starts to shimmer and fade, like a mirage in the desert. She closes her eyes, allowing herself to be carried forward on the currents of time, eager to discover what other secrets and wonders await her on this extraordinary journey through the history of Dia de los Muertos. As the shimmering fades, Maria's eyes adjust to a dimly lit space. She finds herself face to face with rows upon rows of grinning skulls. The wall of skulls stretches high above her head, each one carefully placed and adorned with intricate carvings. She recognized it as a sompantil, an Aztec skull rack she had only read about in history books. Conflicting emotions swirl within Maria as she stares at the structure. Part of her wants to turn away, but another part feels an inexplicable pull towards it. The skulls seem to whisper ancient secrets, hinting at a deeper understanding of life and death that she can't quite grasp. Movement catches her eye, and she turns to see an imposing figure approaching. As he draws near, she gasps at the sight of his face, painted to resemble a skull with intricate designs swirling across his features. His elaborate headdress and garments are adorned with symbols she doesn't recognize, but she instinctively knows they represent death and the afterlife. The Aztec priest stops before Maria, his dark eyes seeming to peer into her very soul. She wants to speak, to ask the countless questions buzzing in her mind, but finds herself unable to form words. The priest raises his hand, gesturing towards the walls of skull. "You see death," he says, his voice low and resonant. "But do you understand life?" Maria furrows her brow, unsure of how to respond. The priest continues, his words painting a picture of Aztec beliefs that both fascinate and unnerves her. These are not mere trophies of conquest, he explains. They are vessels of sacred power, reservoirs of life itself. In death, we honor the cycle of existence. As the priest speaks, Maria begins to see the structure in a new light. The skulls no longer seem like gruesome decorations, but rather important pieces in a complex spiritual puzzle. She realizes that the holiday's focus on remembering and honoring the dead is not a modern invention, but a continuation of beliefs that stretch back thousands of years. "The dead do not leave us," the priest says, his eyes seeming to glow in the dim light. "They guide us, protect us, and return to us. They remind us of this truth." As Maria listens, she feels a shift in her perception. The wall of skulls, once a source of fear, now stands as a powerful symbol of life's continuity. The priest's final words echo in Maria's mind as the scene around her begins to fade. "Remember me," he says. "In honoring death, we celebrate life." Maria blinks, and suddenly she finds herself standing on a cobblestone street, the sound of church bells ringing in the distance. The air is filled with the scent of burning candles and fresh bread. She has traveled forward in time once again, arriving in a Spanish colonial town. The lessons of the Aztec priest linger in her mind as she prepares to uncover the next chapter in the involving story of Dia de los Muertos. Church bells echo through the streets, their solemn tones a stark contrast to the vibrant Aztec rituals Maria just witnessed. Beneath the Christian facade, whispers of ancient traditions persist. Maria finds herself standing on a narrow cobblestone street, surrounded by the architecture of colonial Mexico. The air is heavy with the scent of burning candles and freshly baked bread. Maria passes by stern-faced Spanish friars, their dark robes a stark contrast to the colorful garments of the indigenous people who hurry past with downcast eyes. The tension between these two worlds is palpable, and Maria can sense the struggle of cultures trying to coexist. As she turns a corner, Maria witnesses a confrontation between a group of indigenous people and a Spanish friar. The friar angrily dismantles a small altar hidden in an alcove, scattering carefully arranged offerings. Maria's heart aches as she watches the indigenous people's pleading faces, their voices low and urgent. Even as public displays of indigenous traditions are suppressed, Maria begins to notice subtle signs of resistance and adaptation. She observes an indigenous woman slipping into a shadowy doorway, a basket hidden beneath her shawl. In a quiet courtyard, she sees children playing with small clay figurines that resemble ancient skull decorations. As night falls, Maria follows a trail of marigold petals. They lead her away from the town center, down winding alleys, and past crumbling walls. The sound of soft chanting reaches her ears, growing louder as she approaches a secluded garden hidden behind an old stone house. Peering through a gap in the foliage, Maria gasps at the sight before her. A group of people, both indigenous and Spanish, gather around an altar that blends Catholic imagery with ancient symbols. Candles flicker beside statues of saints, while marigolds and copal incense create a fragrant haze. The participants share food and stories, laughing and crying as they remember their departed loved ones. Maria realizes she's witnessing the birth of Dia de los Muertos as we know it today. The resilience of indigenous beliefs, combined with elements of Catholic tradition, has created something entirely new and uniquely Mexican. This hidden ceremony represents a form of cultural resistance, a way for people to honor their ancestors and maintain their connection to the past while adapting to a new reality. The air grows thick with the scent of marigolds and copal, and Maria feels a familiar tug at her senses. The garden begins to shimmer and fade, the sounds of the secret celebration growing distant. As the world around her transforms once again, Maria carries with her a deeper understanding of how Dia de los Muertos evolved, born from the clash and eventual melding of two vastly different cultures. When her vision clears, Maria finds herself standing on a bustling street in what appears to be a 19th century Mexican town. The scent of marigolds still lingers in the air, but now it mingles with the aroma of fresh bread and the sound of lively music. She takes a deep breath, ready to discover how this beautiful tradition continued to grow and change in the centuries to come. Maria's attention is drawn to a striking figure in the bustling 19th century scene. Amid the colorful crowd stands a tall skeleton, adorned in an elaborate hat and fancy dress. The skeleton's empty eye sockets seem to fix on Maria, beckoning her closer with bony fingers. Despite initial hesitation, Maria feels an inexplicable urge to approach. "I am La Catrina," the skeleton announces, her voice surprisingly warm and melodious. "Come, dance with me, and I'll show you the true spirit of Dia de los Muertos." Curiosity wins out, and Maria takes Catrina's offered hand. She's surprised by the gentleness of the skeleton's touch as they begin to move together, swaying to the lively music that fills the air. La Catrina guides Maria through the crowded streets, their dance a graceful weave through the throng of celebrants. As they twirl and step, La Catrina shares her story. "I was born from the imagination of Jose Guadalupe Posada in 1910, she explains, her fancy hat bobbing as they dance. "I began as a satirical image, but over time, I grew into a symbol of Dia de los Muertos herself." Their dance leads them to a grand plaza where a massive celebration is underway. Skeletons of all shapes and sizes mingle with the living, their laughter indistinguishable from that of their flesh-covered counterparts. Maria marvels at the scene, understanding now how La Catrina embodies the holiday spirit of equality in death. La Catrina leads Maria to a quiet corner of the plaza and removes her elaborate hat, revealing a skull adorned with intricate floral patterns. "Remember," she says, her voice now a gentle whisper, "I am a celebration of life. Embrace the joy, the color, the music of Dia de los Muertos, for in doing so, you honor those who came before and those who will come after." With those words, La Catrina steps back, bowing once more to Maria. Her form begins to shimmer and fade, like a mirage in the desert heat. Maria blinks, and suddenly La Catrina is gone, leaving behind only the echo of her laughter and the lingering scent of marigolds. The world around Maria shifts, and when her vision clears, she finds herself in a modern Mexican cemetery. The peaceful quiet surrounds her as she contemplates the lessons learned from La Catrina. Maria feels a deep connection to the traditions of Dia de los Muertos, now understanding how they have evolved and thrived through time. With renewed appreciation for the holiday's meaning, she prepares to explore this new facet of the celebration. Maria steps carefully between the gravestones, her eyes widening at the vibrant displays adorning each marker. Families bustle about, arranging marigolds, candles, and personal mementos on the freshly swept stones. The cemetery hums with activity and life. As she wanders through the rows, Maria overhears snippets of conversation. A group of elderly women laugh as they share fond memories of their departed friend. Nearby, a man speaks softly to a headstone, updating his father on the family's triumphs and struggles over the past year. The mixture of joy and sorrow in these intimate moments tugs at Maria's heart. Her attention is drawn to a small group gathered around a cluster of tiny graves. Children place colorful toys and sweets on the stones, their faces a mixture of curiosity and solemnity. Maria feels a lump form in her throat as she watches a young girl carefully arrange a doll next to a framed photo of a smiling baby. The air grows thick with the aroma of traditional foods as families unpack baskets filled with tamales, pan de muerto, and containers of atole. Maria observes as they set out plates of their departed loved ones' favorite dishes, the steam rising into the cool night air. Some even pour small glasses of tequila, a toast to cherished memories. As night deepens, many families settle in for the long haul, spreading blankets between the graves and lighting additional candles. The cemetery takes on the air of a community gathering, with stories and laughter mingling with the occasional sob. Maria marvels at how this celebration blends sorrow and joy so seamlessly. Drawn by the sound of a familiar name, Maria finds herself standing before a simple headstone. The photo propped against it shows a kind-faced woman, her smile warm and inviting. As she leans in to read the inscription, a small family approaches. Maria steps back, allowing them space to arrange their offerings. She listens as they share stories about the woman in the photo, each anecdote painting a vivid picture of a life well lived. Their words bring the deceased to life in a way Maria has never experienced before. She realizes that through these stories, through this act of remembrance, the dead are kept alive in the hearts and minds of those who love them. As the family's laughter rings out, Maria feels a shift in her understanding of Dia de los Muertos. It's about maintaining a connection with the deceased, ensuring that their stories continue to be told and their influence felt in the world of the living. A gust of wind scatters marigold petals across the cemetery. Maria closes her eyes, inhaling deeply. When she opens them, she finds herself in a warm, brightly lit kitchen, the air filled with enticing aromas and the bustle of meal preparation. Maria takes in the bustling kitchen, filled with the warm aroma of freshly baked pan de muerto. The sweet bread's circular shape catches her eye, symbolizing the endless cycle of life and death. She watches as family members of all ages work together, preparing dishes that hold special significance for their departed loved ones. Near the stove, a heated discussion breaks out over a well-worn cookbook. Two women argue about the correct recipe for mole, each convinced her version is the authentic one. An older man quietly intervenes, gently taking the cookbook and revealing a dog-eared page with familiar handwriting. The women fall silent, their eyes filling with tears as they read their grandmother's recipe. Maria observes the careful preparation of various dishes for the ofrenda. Tamales are lovingly wrapped in corn husks, their savory scent mingling with the sweetness of pan de muerto. A large pot of atole simmers on the stove, ready to welcome both living guests and visiting spirits. In one corner, children decorate sugar skulls with brightly colored icing, laughing as they share stories about the relatives they're honoring. As the family sets the table for their deceased loved ones, Maria feels a growing sense of anticipation. They carefully arrange plates of favorite dishes and place glasses of water at each setting. The earlier tension is dissipated, replaced by a warm sense of unity. Stories flow as freely as the shared dishes, with fond memories of meals shared with those no longer present. In this moment, Maria understands that the food prepared for Dia de los Muertos is a tangible link between the living and the dead. It nourishes both body and memory, bringing the family together through shared recollections and the comforting taste of tradition. As the meal winds down, the sharp, earthy smell of copal incense catches Maria's attention, drawing her away from the kitchen and towards the heart of the celebration. The scent of copal incense guides Maria to a room bathed in soft candlelight. Her eyes adjust, taking in a collection of objects arranged with care. At the center, a weathered photograph of a smiling woman catches her attention. Surrounding it are marigolds, candles, sugar skulls, and plates of food. Maria realizes she discovered the family's ofrenda, the heart of their Dia de los Muertos celebration. Footsteps approach, and Maria steps back, feeling like an intruder. A family enters, arms full of items to add to the altar. She watches silently as they arrange each object with reverence. The father places a pitcher of water, explaining it's to quench the grandmother's thirst after her journey. He adds a plate of tamales, murmuring, Abuela's favorite. The mother lights papel picado, delicate paper banners representing the guiding wind. As they work, stories of the women in the photograph fill the air. Maria listens, captivated by tales of kindness, fiery temper, and legendary cooking skills. With each anecdote, the woman's presence seems to fill the room despite her absence. Maria observes the ofrenda's elements, understanding their symbolism. Marigolds create a path for spirits, candles provide light, and copal purifies the space. Personal belongings speak to the individuality of the honored dead. The family adds final touches, and anticipation builds. The father reaches for matches, saying softly, now will light the way for Abuela. Maria holds her breath as flames flicker to life, casting a warm glow over the altar. In this moment, Maria grasps the ofrenda's true purpose, a bridge between worlds, connecting the living and the departed. The altar seems to pulse with energy, as if the boundary between realms has thinned. She can almost imagine the spirit of the smiling woman stepping through, drawn by love and memories. A sudden breeze scatters marigold petals across the floor. Maria blinks, finding herself on a lively street filled with music and laughter. The lesson of the ofrenda stays with her as she prepares to explore this new facet of the Dia de los Muertos celebration. Maria finds herself swept up in a sea of vibrant costumes and painted faces. The street before her pulses with life, an endless stream of people dressed in elaborate outfits flowing past like a river of color and movement. Everywhere she looks, she sees faces transformed into intricate skulls, their features adorned with swirling patterns and vibrant hues. The joyous atmosphere is palpable, but Maria feels overwhelmed and unsure of how to participate in this grand spectacle. As she takes a hesitant step forward, Maria notices something peculiar. Many of the revelers are carrying framed photographs, holding them aloft like precious treasures. She watches as families march together, their faces a mix of sorrow and celebration as they proudly display images of their departed loved ones. It's a poignant reminder that beneath the festive exterior, this is still a day of remembrance. Maria observes a group of dancers gathering near a makeshift stage. Their costumes are particularly elaborate, featuring swirling skirts and intricate headdresses adorned with marigolds and papal pegado. She watches, fascinated, as they begin to warm up, their movements fluid and graceful, even in preparation. The anticipation builds as more people gather around the dancers. Maria finds herself drawn closer, caught up in the excitement. As the music starts, a lively melody filled with the sounds of guitars and trumpets, the dancers burst into motion. Their performance is a whirlwind of color and movement, telling stories of life, death, and rebirth through their steps and gestures. Without realizing it, Maria finds her own body swaying to the rhythm. A dancer notices her and extends a hand, inviting her to join. For a moment, Maria hesitates, her earlier uncertainty resurfacing. But then she remembers the lessons she's learned on her journey about the importance of connection, remembrance, and celebration in the face of loss. Taking a deep breath, Maria accepts the dancer's hand and allows herself to be pulled into the performance. As she twirls and steps in time with the music, she feels a profound sense of connection to the celebrants around her. In this moment, she understands that Dia de los Muertos is about celebrating the continuity of life and the enduring power of memory. As the dance reaches its crescendo, Maria loses herself in the music and movement. When the final notes fade away, she finds herself breathless and exhilarated. But as she turns to thank her dance partner, she realizes the crowded street has vanished. Instead, she finds herself standing in a quiet room, face to face with an old woman whose eyes twinkle with ancient wisdom. Maria's heart races, sensing that she is about to uncover yet another layer of this rich celebration. Maria's pulse quickens as she meets the old woman's gaze. Those eyes seem to hold centuries of secrets, and Maria can't help but wonder what stories lie hidden behind that knowing smile. As the woman gestures for Maria to sit, the air around them shimmers with untold tales. Maria hesitates, her feet rooted to the spot. The old woman's presence is both comforting and intimidating. She takes a deep breath and crosses the room, settling into the offered seat. The old woman's eyes crinkle with warmth as she turns to face Maria. "My child," she says, her voice soft yet clear, "do you know the true power of a story?" Without waiting for an answer, she continues, "In our words, we carry the lives of those who came before us. Their joys, their sorrows, their wisdom, all of it lives on through the tales we tell." Maria listens, captivated, as the woman begins to weave a story about her own ancestors. She speaks of her own great-grandmother, a fierce woman who stood up to the injustice during the Mexican Revolution. The old woman's voice rises and falls, painting vivid pictures of secret meetings, daring escapes, and unwavering courage. As the story unfolds, Maria feels herself being drawn in. She can almost smell the gunpowder in the air, feel the tension of hiding from soldiers, taste the relief of a narrow escape. The old woman's words bring the past to life in a way Maria has never experienced before. The storyteller pauses, her eyes distant as she recalls another memory. You see, she says, turning back to Maria, Dia de los Muertos is about connection. When we share these stories, we strengthen the bonds between generations. We remind ourselves that we are part of something greater, a long line of ancestors whose lives have shaped our own. Maria nods, understanding dawning in her eyes. She thinks of her own family, of the stories she heard about the ofrenda year after year. Each tale, she realizes, is a thread in the tapestry of her heritage. The old woman's story builds to its climax, her voice growing more animated. Maria leans forward, heart racing as she waits to hear how her ancestors' bravery saved an entire village. But just as the woman reaches the most exciting part, her voice begins to fade. The room around them grows hazy, the edges blurring like a watercolor painting. Maria feels a pang of disappointment as the world shifts around her. The old woman's final words echo in her mind. Remember, child, as long as we tell their stories, our loved ones are never truly gone. In a blink, the quiet room and the old storyteller vanish. Maria finds herself standing in a brightly lit classroom, surrounded by the chatter of excited children. The lesson of the storyteller's gift lingers in her heart as she prepares to explore this new chapter in her journey through the history of Dia de los Muertos. Maria blinks, adjusting to the bright classroom. The old woman's words about connection echo in her mind as she observes the scene before her. Colorful sugar skulls line the shelves, each a unique masterpiece of intricate patterns and vibrant hues. Maria's eyes dance from one to the next, marveling at the creativity on display. The teacher, a warm-faced woman with silver streaks in her dark hair, gathers the children around a large table. She spreads out sheets of paper and an array of art supplies. Today, the teacher announces, we're going to create our own ofrendas for Dia de los Muertos. As the children begin their projects, Maria observes their reactions. Some dive in enthusiastically, while others hesitate. She overhears a young boy whisper to his friend, but isn't it scary to talk about dead people? The teacher kneels beside the hesitant boy, her voice gentle as she explains. Dia de los Muertos isn't about fear, Carlos. It's about love and remembrance. When we create these ofrendas, we're showing our departed loved ones that we still care about them. Understanding dawns on Carlos's face. He picks up a crayon and begins to draw, a small smile replacing his frown. Around the room, children share stories about grandparents, aunts, uncles, and even pets that they've lost. The atmosphere shifts to one of shared experiences and support. The teacher weaves in history and tradition alongside the art project. She explains the significance of marigolds, the role of Pan de Muerto, and the importance of sharing funny stories about their deceased loved ones. Maria realizes that this hands-on approach allows the children to engage with the holiday's customs in a personal, meaningful way. Laughter fills the air as the children share their calaveras literarias, short, humorous poems about their departed loved ones. Maria sees how this tradition helps the young ones process complex emotions, teaching them that it's okay to feel both sorrow and happiness when remembering those that they've lost. As the class nears its end, the teacher announces that each student will have a chance to share a story about the person they've chosen to honor in their ofrenda. Maria watches as hands shoot up, eager faces, waiting their turn to speak. One by one, the children stand before their classmates, holding up colorful drawings and carefully crafted sugar skulls. They speak of grandmothers who made the best tamales, fathers who told the funniest jokes, and sisters who always knew how to make them feel better when they were sad. With each story, Maria sees the bonds between the students grow stronger, a shared understanding blooming in their young hearts. The school bell rings, signaling the end of class. As the children gather their creations, chattering excitedly about the stories they've heard, Maria feels the world around her to shift once more. The classroom fades away, replaced by the vibrant sights and sounds of a bustling mercado. The lessons of the young ones linger in her mind as she prepares to explore this new facet of Dia de los Muertos. Maria finds herself standing in a vibrant mercado, surrounded by stalls brimming with Dia de los Muertos crafts. The air hums with activity as the artisans shape, paint, and create. She observes the scene, wondering how something meant to honor the dead can breathe so much life into a community. Intricate Pablo Picasso banners flutter overhead, their delicate patterns telling stories in the breeze. Maria marvels at the craftsmanship, understanding now that these colorful tissue paper cutouts represent the wind and are often used to decorate altars. She learns that they symbolize the fragility of life and the connection between the living and the dead, adding depth to their beauty. As Maria wanders through the market, she's struck by the rich cultural significance of the crafts on display. Each item, from sugar skulls to clay figurines, carries a piece of heritage, a tangible link to centuries-old traditions. She watches, mesmerized, as an artisan demonstrates the creation of sugar skulls, transforming simple sugar into intricate, edible art. The skulls, she learns, are not only decorative, but also serve as offerings to the deceased, representing the sweetness of life. A twinge of unease tugs at Maria's heart as she notices tourists haggling over prices, treating these meaningful objects like mere souvenirs. She wonders if the true cultural significance is being overshadowed by commercialization. As she moves through the market, Maria begins to notice the positive impact of this economic activity. Families man stalls together, passing down skills from one generation to the next. She overhears conversations about how the holiday season provides a crucial boost to local economies, sustaining traditional crafts and providing livelihoods for many families in Mexico. Maria's attention is drawn to a stall at the far end of the market. Glowing marigolds seem to beckon her closer. As she approaches, her anticipation builds. The marigold vendor, an elderly woman with kind eyes, greets Maria warmly. As she carefully wraps a bouquet, she shares stories of how these flowers have been used in Dia de los Muertos celebrations for generations. Maria learns that the marigold's strong scent is believed to guide the spirits of the dead back to the world of the living. In this moment, watching the vendor's weathered hands tenderly handle the flowers, Maria has an epiphany. She realizes that these artisans are not just craftspeople, but guardians of cultural heritage. Their work keeps ancient traditions alive, evolving while preserving the essence of Dia de los Muertos. As Maria reaches out to touch a soft marigold petal, she feels a familiar shift in the air. The market begins to fade around her, the sounds of haggling and laughter growing distant. When she opens her eyes, she finds herself standing on a modern city street, the lessons of the artisan's touch still resonating in her heart. She carries with her a deeper appreciation for the delicate balance between tradition and progress, the ever-changing tapestry of Dia de los Muertos celebrations. Maria finds herself on a bustling city street unlike any she's seen before. Skyscrapers adorned with Dia de los Muertos imagery loom overhead. A mix of languages fills the air as people from various backgrounds come together in celebration. Neon sugar skulls flicker to life in storefronts, casting a colorful glow over the urban landscape. Vibrant murals stretch across building facades, their intricate designs blending traditional motifs with modern street art styles. As she walks down the street, Maria notices groups of people from diverse backgrounds participating in the festivities. Her eyes are drawn to a nearby park where a large group has gathered. She approaches, curious about what's happening. She discovers a diverse community working together to create a shared ofrenda. People of various ethnicities carefully arrange photos, candles, and marigolds on the altar. The scene is a beautiful blend of cultures, each person adding their own unique touch to the collective remembrance. Maria overhears snippets of conversation about how Dia de los Muertos is celebrated in different parts of the world. She learns about unique adaptations, like Bolivia's Dia de las Nietitas and Italy's Giorno dei Morti. These celebrations share similarities with Mexican customs, while incorporating their own distinct traditions. As night falls, Maria finds herself drawn to a community center where an educational event is taking place. Inside, she listens as speakers discuss the importance of understanding the holiday's origin and significance. She learns about efforts to create resources that explain the customs of Dia de los Muertos, ensuring that its cultural roots are not forgotten as it gains global popularity. Leaving the community center, Maria pauses to reflect on all that she's witnessed. She realizes that the universal human need to honor and remember the dead transcends borders and cultures. In its journey beyond Mexico, the holiday has become a bridge, connecting people through shared experiences of love, loss, and remembrance. As this understanding settles in her heart, Maria notices the city around her beginning to fade. The neon lights dim, the sounds of celebration grow distant, and the bustling streets give way to tranquil greenery. When her vision clears, Maria finds herself standing in a peaceful garden, the lessons of Dia de los Muertos' global journey still resonating within her. As Maria's eyes adjust to the sunlit garden, a flutter of orange and black catches her attention. Monarch butterflies dance among the vibrant marigolds, their wings shimmering in the warm light. She watches in awe as they flit from flower to flower, recalling their special significance in Dia de los Muertos traditions. These graceful creatures represent the souls of departed loved ones, returning to Earth for their annual visit. Their arrival in Mexico coincides with the holiday, a natural wonder that feels like more than mere chance. As Maria observes their gentle flight, she senses a connection to those who have come before her, their spirits embodied in these resilient beings. A bittersweet feeling washes over Maria as she realizes her journey through time is ending. She feels a subtle pull, an invisible thread tugging her back to her own era. Before she goes, she reflects on all she's learned about life, death, and remembrance. Her mind wanders through the centuries she's witnessed, from ancient Aztec rituals to modern-day celebrations. She thinks about the Tzompantli and its lessons on the cycle of existence, the secret ceremonies that kept traditions alive during colonial times, and the joyous parades that now fill city streets. Maria considers how the holiday encourages people to confront their own mortality. Unlike many cultures that shy away from discussions of death, Dia de los Muertos creates a space for open dialogue about life's end. It teaches that death is not something to be feared, but a natural part of existence to be acknowledged and celebrated. As she ponders these truths, Maria notices the butterflies begin to gather around her. Their wings create gentle currents of air, lifting loose marigold petals into swirling patterns. The scene is both beautiful and slightly unsettling, as if the veil between worlds is growing thin once more. The butterflies' dance intensifies, forming a living whirlwind of orange and black. Maria's heart races with anticipation. As she stands at the center of their swirling formation, a profound realization washes over her. She understands now that death is not an end, but a continuation of life's eternal cycle. Dia de los Muertos is a celebration of this endless journey, a recognition that those we've lost are never truly gone. As this understanding settles in her heart, Maria feels a sense of peace. The fear and uncertainty that often surround death begin to fade, replaced by an acceptance of life's natural rhythms. The butterfly swarm begins to disperse, their wings carrying them to the far corners of the garden. As the last monarch flutters away, Maria feels the world around her shift once more. The peaceful garden fades from view, replaced by the familiar surroundings of her own bedroom. She finds herself back in her own home, forever changed by her journey through the rich history and deep meaning of Dia de los Muertos. Maria's eyes flutter open as the early morning light filters through her curtains. She lies still for a moment, her mind filled with fragments of her extraordinary dream journey. The vivid images slowly fade, but the emotions they stirred linger. Her gaze falls on the framed photo of her grandmother on her bedside table. Maria reaches out, gently touching the smiling face captured in the image. She sees her abuela with new eyes now, understanding the deep connections that bind them across time. As Maria sits up, a warm smile spreads across her face. She feels a sense of anticipation, eager to celebrate Dia de los Muertos with her family. This year, the holiday holds a deeper meaning for her. She thinks to herself how grateful she is for this newfound appreciation of her heritage and the cycles of life that have shaped her culture for generations.